my live teaching learning session of BECC 131 Microeconomics. Today we will discuss about Block 1 Unit 4 Theory of Supply and Elasticity of Supply. In previous sessions, we have completed scarcity and problem of choice and theory of demand and elasticity of demand. Now today's topic is theory of supply and what is the meaning of elasticity of supply and how demand and supply both are helpful in economy. What role elasticity of supply and theory of supply play in the economy. Now today's topic contents are what is supply. First of all, we will discuss about what is the meaning of supply. After that, law of supply, determinants of supply, it means what factors affects theory of supply. Law of supply, who gave this law and what is the main proposition of this law and what are the assumptions of this supply law and schedule, what is supply schedule and supply curve. Next is what is the reason behind that law of supply, why this law of supply states always positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. Next, exceptions of the law of supply. Next is elasticity of supply, measuring methods of elasticity of supply, and what factors affects elasticity of supply. So all these topics will be covered in today's session. So let us start from first topic, what is supply? First of all, you know about supply is related with producer or seller. Demand is related with consumer or buyer. Being a buyer, if we are demanding any commodity, our main motive is to spend less and gain maximum satisfaction. And supply, which is related with producer. Producer or seller main aim is to put minimum cost and get maximum profit. Supply refers to the quantity of a commodity which a seller is willing to sell at different possible prices and at different time period. So supply means the willingness and ability of sellers to produce and offer for sale at different quantities of a commodity at a different prices during a specific time period. Supply is related with period of time. That's why we can say that supply is a flow concept. It's not a stock concept. It's a flow concept because it is related with period of time. If supply relates to point of time, like if a producer produce whole amount of goods and services and put it in their warehouses, that is called stock. And stock is a concept which is related with point of time. At a particular point of time, whatever quantity of a commodity a seller produces and kept it in warehouses or godowns, that is called stock. But the willingness and offer for sale of a quantity of a commodity at a given prices and at a given time period is called supply. So supply refers to willingness of a seller or desire of a seller to sell that product into the market. And it shows the ability of seller for offering sale at a given prices and at a given time period. This is the meaning of supply. Next is the theory of supply. The theory of supply states that what is the meaning of supply and what is the law of supply. These two things are included in the theory of supply. Number one is, what is the definition of supply? The amount producers are able and willing to offer for sale at a given price and at a given time period is known as supply. It means supply is a concept which refers to the quantity of a commodity which a seller is willing to sell in the market at a given price and at a given time period. Supply may be related to per day, per year, per month, per week, per hour, per minute. That's why it is a flow concept because it is related with period of time. And the law of supply states that as well as price rises, supply will also rise. Due to fall in price, supply will also fall. It means there is a positive relationship between price and quantity supply. That's why supply curve always slopes upward from left to right. Supply curve, why this supply curve is upward sloping curve? Because it shows direct and positive relationship between price and quantity supply. But you know that in case of demand, there is an inverse relationship between demand and price. When price rises, demand falls. When price falls, demand rises. But this will this situation will reverse in case of supply. In case of supply, when price rises, producer will produce more and sell more in the market. When price fall, then producer will produce less and less supply will be in the market. So there is a positive relationship between price and quantity supply. That's why its curve slope is always upward from left to right. Next is, what is the difference between supply and quantity supplied? These two concepts are different from each other. There is some specific difference. Supply refers to various quantities offered for sale by the supplier at a different possible prices of the commodity. But quantity supplied refers to particular quantity or specific quantity of a commodity that the producer are ready to sell at the specific or particular price of the commodity. When you are giving the definition of quantity supplied, then you must have to put here a specific word. This specific or particular word is showing that producer is selling particular quantity of a commodity or specific quantity of a commodity at the particular or specific price of the commodity. So when we use this particular word or specific word in case of price and in case of quantity supplied, that refers to quantity supplied. But supply is a simple concept which shows that producer is willing to sell whatever amount of goods and services. There is not any limit of a particular commodity or particular price. There is no such restriction here. Supply refers to various commodities or various quantities of a commodity at which producer can sell at different possible prices at the different time period. So this is the difference between supply and quantity supplied. Now next is two types of supply schedule. Supply schedule shows a tabular presentation of different quantities supplied at different prices. Supply schedule is known as supply table. And what is supply table? Supply table refers to when we put quantities of a commodity and price in rows and columns that is called supply schedule. And supply schedule shows different quantities of a commodity at different possible prices. So supply schedule is a tabular presentation of different quantities of a commodity at different prices. And supply schedule has two types. One is individual supply schedule and second is market supply schedule. Same as in case of demand. Demand schedule also has two types. One is individual demand schedule and second is market demand schedule. In case of supply, individual supply schedule refers to the different commodities of a quantity of a commodity which is sold by individual seller or particular seller at different possible prices. In other words, we can say that individual supply schedule represents the price quantity combination for a single seller. But market supply schedule is the summation of individual supply schedule. If in a market there are three sellers, one is A seller, second is B seller, and third is C seller, and all sellers are selling different quantities of a commodity at different possible prices. If we add all these sellers' quantity supplied at different possible prices, then we can get market supply schedule. So market supply schedule represent the price quantity combination for all the sellers of a particular commodity or good. The market supply curve is horizontal summation of all individual supply curves. So these two types are supply schedule. One is individual supply schedule and second is market supply schedule. And both are very important because individual supply schedule shows single seller quantities offered for sale at different possible prices. And market supply schedule shows all the sellers who are selling different quantities of a commodity at different possible prices. Market supply schedule is the summation of all the sellers quantities of a commodity at different possible prices. Now next is, in this table we can show that what type of schedule shows individual and what type of schedule we can make in case of market supply. Here prices in first column, price is written and price is 4, 8, 12, 16 and 20. And producer A or seller A is selling a commodity. In case of 4 rupees price, it's a zero quantity offered for sale. As well as price rises, supply rises. At 8 rupees price, 30 units are sold by producer A, and at 12 rupees price, 60 units of a commodity offered for sale by a producer, and at 16 rupees price, 90 units of a commodity offered for sale by producer A, and at 20 rupees price, 120 units are offered for sale by a producer. If only we take producer A quantity supplied at different possible prices, that is called individual supply schedule. But if we add producer A supply offered for sale at a given possible prices and producer B supply offered for sale at a different possible prices like 0, 0, 15, 30, 45. And market supply is the summation of producer A or seller A supply and seller B supply. Here if we add 0 plus 0 is equals to 0, 30 plus 0 is equals to 30, 60 plus 15 is equals to 75, 90 plus 30 is equals to 120 and 120 plus 45 is equals to 165. It means market supply is the horizontal summation of all the sellers' sale which is offered for sale at a given prices or different possible prices. So this is the example of individual supply schedule and market supply schedule. If we take only producer A supply at different possible prices, that will be called individual supply schedule. And if we sum up producer A and producer B, both the quantities offered for sale at different possible prices, that will be called market supply schedule. Next is supply curve. Supply curve is based on supply schedule because supply curve is a graphical presentation of supply schedule. You know that if we have given a table, then we can draw a curve with the help of that table. If we take individual supply schedule and draw a curve, that will be called individual supply curve because supply curve is a graphical or diagrammatic presentation of supply schedule, and supply schedule may be individual and supply schedule may be market. If we take individual supply schedule and represent it with the help of graph, that is called individual supply curve. And if we take the figures of market supply schedule at different possible prices and draw a curve, that will be called market supply curve. So supply curve is a graphical presentation of supply schedule. Supply curve has a always upward slope. Supply curve is starting out the relationship between price and quantity supplied. When the price of a good or services is high, then quantity supplied by firm will also high. If the price of a commodity is lower, then less quantity will be offered for sale by the seller. So there is a positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. So supply curve shows always positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. That's why its slope is always upward from left to right. Next is when the price is low, the firm is less likely to produce. So we have low quantity supplied. So it is clear that supply curve is a graphical presentation of supply schedule, and supply curve may also individual supply curve, and it may be market supply curve. If we show individual supply schedule in a graphical manner, then we can get individual supply curve. And if we take market supply schedule in a graphic presentation, then we can draw market supply curve. So in short, supply curve is a graphical presentation of supply schedule. Now what type of individual supply curve is? Upward sloping. Individual supply curve is which is supplied by producer or a quantity of a commodity which is offered for sale by individual seller or single seller, that is called individual supply. And if we show with the help of graph, that will be called individual supply curve. Here first curve is individual supply curve and second is also S1. S1 is first seller individual supply curve. S2 is another seller individual supply curve. And if we take a summation of S1 and S2, then we can get market supply curve. So market supply curve is sum of all individual supply curves in a market. Market supply curve will be more flatter in nature and individual supply curve will be steeper and upward sloping, but the slope remains always upward, which shows positive or direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. Next is Theory of supply and its graphical presentation. Here supply curve can be drawn in this three diagrams. We can show individual supply curve and market supply curve. In first diagram, here we are showing that seller P is selling different quantities of a commodity at different possible prices. So P's supply curve is showing individual supply curve. After that, next B diagram is showing that here Q is supplying different quantities of a commodity at different possible prices. So this curve is also upward sloping curve, which is showing that supplier is increasing the quantity of a commodity as well as price increases. And the summation of A and B is known as C supply curve or market supply curve. Market supply curve is the totality of individual supply curve. And if we draw this diagram, first of all, we have to write on x-axis quantity supplied and on y-axis price should be written, because this shows positive relationship between price and quantity supplied, and market supply curve is the summation of all individual sellers supply curve. Next is law of supply. What is the meaning of this law of supply? According to the law of supply, if other things remaining constant, then higher the price, the larger the quantity produced. It means there is a positive and direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. When price rises, supply rises. When price falls, supply falls. If other things remaining constant. This law is also presented by Marshall. Marshall presented theory of demand, elasticity of demand, theory of supply, and elasticity of supply. In this demand and supply, there is a great contribution of Marshall. Marshall said that if other things remaining constant or ceteris paribus or other things remaining constant or equal, then there is a positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. But in case of demand, there will be inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded, because demand is related with consumer and supply concerns with producer, and producer's goal is to earn maximum profit and consumer's main aim is to spend minimum and get maximum satisfaction. So law of supply states the higher the price, the larger the quantity produced, and vice versa. Next is, what are the assumptions of law of supply? Other things remaining constant. What are the other things? The other things are like price of related goods should not change, technology of production should not change, cost of production should remain constant, goal of the firm should remain constant, and taxation policy of the government should not change. It means these factors can affect the supply, but when we are showing the law of supply, then we assume that all these things should not change. All these things, if remains constant or equal, then only price will affect the quantity supplied. Whenever price rises, supply rises. When price falls, supply also falls. So these other factors should remain constant, which can influence the supply of a commodity in a very large manner. But Marshall assumed that if these factors remains constant, then only price will positively affects to the supply of a commodity. Next is determinants of supply. What are the determinants of supply, or what factors influence the quantity of a supply? First of all, first determinant factor of supply is price of the given commodity. You know that there is a positive and direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. When price rises, supply rises. When price falls, supply falls. So there is a positive and direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. Second thing is price of related goods. Price of related goods. Related goods, you know that there are two types of related goods. One is substitute and other is complementary. Substitute goods are those goods which can use in place of each other. For example, tea or coffee, Campa and Pepsi, these are substitutable goods. If price of one commodity changes, then the other commodity demand and supply will also affected. In case of demand, when price of tea rises, then people will demand more for coffee. But this situation will reverse in case of supply because we know that in case of supply, there is a positive relationship between price and supply. If the price of tea rises, then supply of tea will rise. If price of coffee rises, then supply of coffee will rise. Because producer always want to produce that commodity whose price is higher. At higher price, supply will be higher and at lower price, supply will be lower. Next is complementary goods. Complementary goods are those goods which always use together. For example, car and petrol, pen and refill, camera and reel, needle and thread, left shoe if we wear, then definitely we will wear a right shoe. So these things are complementary to each other. It means if we use two goods together and without one commodity, other commodity is useless. That is called complementary goods. If price of car rises, then supply of car will also rise or supply of petrol will rise because if one commodity's price increases, then the complementary goods which is related with that commodity, that product supply will also rise. Third point is price of factors of production. Factors of productions are basically four. One is land, second is capital, third is labor, and fourth is entrepreneur. There are four factors of production: land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. And without these factors, we can't produce any commodity. If factors of production price rises, it means cost of production will rise and producers' profit motive will fall. In this case, supply will fall. If price of the factors of production or input prices rises, then supply will fall. And vice versa. It means if price of the factors of production falls, then supply will rise. Fourth point is state of technology. State of technology refers to what type of technology we are using for the production of goods and services. We can use modern and advanced technology. If we use modern and advanced technology for the production of goods and services, then definitely supply will rise. And if we use backward technology, obsolete technology, and degraded technology, then production will fall, means supply will fall. Next point is government policies. Government can provide subsidies and government can impose taxes on producers. You know that government main uh, work is to collect revenue from taxation and spend this collected revenue for the welfare of the society. If government impose more taxes on producer, in this case, seller will produce less. Because if government impose more taxes on producer, then profit motive will reduce and producer will produce less. But if government provides subsidies or concessions to the producer, then producer will encourage to produce more. In this case, supply will rise. Next point is objective of the firm. Objective of the firm is also known as goal of the firm. There are two types of goal of the firm. One is profit motive, second is social welfare. If each and every producer main goal is to earn maximum profit, then producer will produce at that time when price will be higher. Producer will supply more at higher price and producer will supply less at lower price if the goal of a firm is to earn maximum profit. On the other hand, if the goal of the firm is to do social welfare, then producer can produce more or producer can supply more when price is lower. So these are the determinant factors of supply. And non-price determinants of supply are the number of sellers. If number of sellers are higher in the market, then definitely supply will rise. If a small number of sellers exist in the market, then supply will fall. So number of sellers also affects the supply of a commodity. Large number of sellers, more supply of a commodity. Less number of sellers, less supply by the seller in the market. Next is technology. If we use modern and advanced technology, supply will be higher. If we use backward technologies, then supply will be lower. If factors price is higher, then cost will rise and supply will fall. And if factors price is less or lower, then cost will be reduced and producer will produce more. If government impose more taxes and provide less subsidies, in this case supply will fall. And if government impose less taxes and provide more subsidies, then supply will rise. And expectations of future price change. If producer is expecting that price will increase in future, then he will supply more in future and less in present. And if we expect that price will decrease in future, then producer will supply more in present and less in future. Because whenever price rises, producer will supply more at that time period. If price will rise in future, supply will be more in future. If price will less in future, then supply will also less in future but more in present. Price of other goods, as we have discussed, that price of other goods related to two commodities, one is substitute and other is complementary. If price of tea rises, then supply of tea will also rise. And in case of substitute goods, and in case of complementary goods, if price of car rises, then supply of car will also rise and petrol supply will also rise. Now we can explain these points in this way. Number one is goal of the firm. You know that goal of the firm influence the quantity of a supply. The goal may be profit maximization or sales maximization. If producer want to gain maximum profit, then he will supply only at that time when price is higher. But if he want to maximize his sale, then he can sell more at lower price. Commodities own price also affects the quantity of a supply. As the price of a good rises with cost and the price of all the other goods unchanged, production of that commodity become profitable. So if commodities price rises, supply will also rise. If commodities price fall, supply will also fall. Next is price of inputs. Inputs are, you know, that labor, land, capital, machines, raw material, all these inputs prices also determine the cost of production. If the input price rises, cost of production will rise and profit will reduce. This will cause supply to fall at all the given prices and vice versa. Next is technology. Technology refers to the way in which inputs can be combined to produce a given output. Technological improvement or advancement will reduce cost and increase the profits. In this case, supply will rise. Next is price of related goods. Related goods may be substitute, may be complementary. If the price of one production substitute rises, the supply of another substitute will decrease. For example, wheat and corn. And complementary goods are those goods when goods are complement or joint product like petrol and paraffin, or like car and petrol. An increase in the price of one complement or joint product yield to an increase in the supply of the other. So these are the determinant factors of supply. Now, next topic is exceptions of law of supply. You know that if there is a law of supply and if there is a law of demand, then something or some concepts are also uh, exceptions. Exceptional cases are also available and also exist in the economy, because exceptions are always there. If there is a rule, then there is a exceptional cases also. What are the exceptional cases of law of supply? One is closure of business. If a seller is closing their business, then doesn't matter price is rising or falling. If he don't want to continue his business, then law of supply will not be pulled in that case. Second is in case of agriculture product, there is no rule of supply applicable, because we know that law of supply states that whenever price rises, supply rises. When price falls, supply falls. But agriculture product uh, depends upon nature. You know that in India, agriculture is the gamble of monsoon, and agriculture production totally based on natural factors. If nature is favorable, then bumper crop will produce. If nature is unfavorable or any natural calamities like flood and drought occur in the economy, then agriculture produce all damage, either in case of high price or low price. We can't increase or decrease the supply of agriculture product according to ourselves, because it depends upon nature. So this is the exceptional case of law of supply. Third is monopoly. If a seller has monopoly power, so seller can produce whatever amount of commodity into the market, either price rises or falls, doesn't matter. Fourth is competition. If there is a large competition in the market, then producer can't increase the price and can't change the quantity supplied and can't produce more. If price rises, he can't produce more of that product because there is too much competition exists in the market. In case of perishable goods, supply, love supply can't be whole, because perishable goods are those goods which we can't store for longer time period. It can be used only by 1 day, 2 day, or 3 days, like bread, milk, curd, fruits, vegetables. All these things are perishable goods, and perishables goods can't be storable for longer time period. So if a seller think about that price will rise in future, then he will store milk and sell at that time when price will be higher. What happen? Milk will be converted into cheese and curd, or milk will be not used as milk because it will be damaged or destroyed. So perishable goods, fruits and vegetables can't be storable. They will lose their value. So perishable goods is the exceptional case of law of supply. Rare goods like diamond, petrol, and other things which are very rare or scarce in quantity, these things can't be increased. If their price rises, their supply you can't increase, because these goods are non-renewable resources, and non-renewable resources which are available in a very limited quantity in whole world, their supply can't increase due to rising price of that commodity. And out of fashion goods, if goods are out of fashion, uh, On these goods, law of supply will not be hold, because if goods are out of fashion goods, then producer can't sell these goods at higher prices and can't sell less goods at lower prices. So these all points are showing that here law of supply is not applicable in all these cases. That's why it is known as exceptional cases of law of supply. Now next is change in supply and change in quantity supplied. This is the last topic of theory of supply chapter. Change in supply. Change in supply is also known as shift of supply curve. And change in quantity supply is also known as movement along the supply curve. Change in supply occurs due to change in other factors. If price remains constant, only other factors influence the supply of a product, then supply curve can shift either to the right hand side or left hand side. If supply curve shifts to the rightward, it will be called increase in supply. And if supply curve shifts to the leftward, then it will be called decrease in supply. In this case, supply curve will shift upward or downward. Downward shift or rightward shift shows increase in supply, and leftward shift or upward shift shows decrease in supply. But it occurs due to change in other factors like price of related goods, change in uh, price of inputs, cost of production, and technology, government policies, future expectations. All these things, if there is a favorable change in these factors, supply will rise. And if there is an unfavorable change in these factors, supply will fall. So if supply increases, curve shifts to the rightward, and if supply decreases, curve shift to the leftward. But price of the commodity should remains constant. There will be no change in price of the commodity, only other factors will change and they will affect to the supply of a commodity. Next is in case of change in quantity supplied or movement along the supply curve, it occurs due to change in price of the commodity. If other things remaining constant, only price of the commodity varies, and according to that price, supply also varies. That is called movement along the supply curve. In this case, supply curve will not shift. Only one supply curve will draw. But we can show expansion in supply and contraction in supply with the help of arrow. If there is an upward movement, you know that price rises, supply rises. Price falls, supply falls. If price rises, supply will also rise. That is called expansion in supply, and we can show it on a same supply curve with upward movement. So upward movement, if we put arrow upward, that is called extension of supply. And if price falls, supply also falls. That is called contraction of supply. And we can show this contraction of supply on the same supply curve with the help of downward movement. So downward movement representing contraction in supply, and upward movement is showing extension in supply, but supply curve will not change. Only one supply curve we will draw upward sloping, and we can put arrow if this arrow is going to upward, that is extension, and if arrow is in the direction of downward, that is called contraction in supply, and it will occurs due to change in price of the commodity, and change in supply or shift in supply curve occurs due to change in other factors. Price should remains constant. So this is the basic difference between change in supply and change in quantity supplied. Now decrease in supply and contraction in supply can also, we can differentiate between decrease in supply is the concept of shift in supply, and contraction in supply is the concept of movement along the supply curve. Decrease in supply means that producer now supply less at a given price level. And contraction in supply means when price falls, then supply will also falls. Decrease in supply has so many causes like rise in the price of remuneration of factors of production, or if price of inputs increases, then cost of production will rise. In this case, supply will fall. If a rise in price of other goods, then related goods supply will also falls. When the technology become outdated or obsolete, in this case supply will fall. And if the producer objective changes, then decrease supply, producer can fall the supply at the same price. And if government impose more taxes on producer, then supply will also decrease. So if supply decreases, then supply curve will shift to the leftward or upward, but price will remain constant. And contraction of supply means if price falls, like in table, price is falling from 2 to 1 and quantity supply is also falling from 10 to 8. That is the example of contraction in supply, and we can show on the same supply curve with the help of downward movement. That is called contraction in supply. Next is elasticity of supply. Till now we have completed theory of supply. Now elasticity of supply is also related with theory of supply, because in theory of supply we have stated that there is a positive and direct relationship between price and quantity supply. When price rises, supply rises. When price falls, supply falls. But elasticity of supply shows the percentage change in quantity supply associated with a percentage change in price. Elasticity concept measures the responsiveness degree of change in quantity supply due to change in its price. So elasticity of supply measures the ratio of the percentage change in quantity supplied of a product to the percentage change in its price. A commodity's elasticity of supply depends on how easy it is to shift resources into the production of that commodity, and how the cost of producing the commodity vary as its production varies. It means what change will occur in supply due to change in price of the commodity. For example, if price is 4 and quantity supply is 10, when price increases from 4 to 8, then what will be the supply of the commodity? If supply also increases from 10 to 15, then how much change will occur in supply? That is measured by elasticity of supply. So elasticity of supply measure the percentage change in quantity supplied due to percentage change in its price. Next is price elasticity of supply. Price elasticity of supply is a measurement of percentage change in quantity supplied of a quantity of a commodity in response to some percentage change in its price. There are two well-known methods of measuring price elasticity of supply. One is percentage method, that is very simple and just same as elasticity of demand, like percentage change in quantity supplied divided by percentage change in price, or delta Q by delta P into P by Q. And second is geometric method. In this, we will draw diagrams and we can present it. Elasticity of supply is unitary elastic or less than unitary elastic or more than unitary elastic. So these are the two methods, proportionate or percentage method. Second is geometric method. With the help of these methods, we can estimate, we can measure the elasticity of supply. Now next is, this is the formula of calculating elasticity of supply. First formula is elasticity of supply is equals to percentage change in quantity supplied upon percentage change in price. Or we can write in this form like proportional change in quantity supplied is divided by proportional change in price. And the other formula is delta Q by delta P into P by Q. Elasticity of supply is presented by ES. E is showing elasticity and S is supply. So elasticity supply formula is delta Q. Delta Q is change in quantity supplied upon change in price into P. P is initial price or first price, and Q is initial quantity of commodity or initial or first quantity. So delta Q by delta P into P by Q is the formula of calculating elasticity of supply. Elasticity of supply and its meaning and its types. You know that elasticity of supply measures the change in supply of a commodity due to change in other variables or other factors such as price of related goods, price of commodity, cost of production, and sellers' expectations, government policies, etc. And types of elasticity of supply is there are five types. One is perfectly elastic supply. Next is perfectly inelastic supply. Third is unitary elastic supply. Fourth is relatively elastic. And fifth is relatively inelastic supply. So there are five types of elasticity of supply: perfectly elastic, perfectly inelastic, unitary elastic, less than elastic, more than elastic. We can show all these types of elasticity of supply with the help of diagram. You know that supply curve is always upward sloping curve. Upward sloping curve in case of first curve, here first curve we have drawn, and this supply curve S1 is showing that here elasticity of supply is greater than 1. How we can say that here supply is greater than 1? Here the percentage change in quantity supply is more than the percentage change in price. If there is a percentage change in quantity supply is more than the percentage change in price, that will be called greater than unitary elastic, and ES will be greater than 1. And second thing is that here supply curve start from the y-axis. When supply curve start from the y-axis, not from the origin, not from the x-axis, if supply curve start from the y-axis, then supply will be more elastic. If supply curve start from the origin or 45-degree line, and if there is a percentage change in price and percentage change in quantity supply, both are equal, then elasticity of supply will be equals to 1. And in third case, here supply curve is start from the x-axis, not from the origin, not from the y-axis. It's generally start from the x-axis. And here we are watching here that here the quantity supply, and it means change in price is more, but the change in quantity is less. If percentage change in quantity supply is less, but the percentage change in price is more, here elasticity of supply will be less than 1, and supply curve start from the x-axis, not from the origin, not from the y-axis. That's why ES is less than 1. Now, fourth situation is here supply curve is vertical. S4 is vertical. This vertical curve is showing that quantity supply is constant, whatever price is prevailing in the market. Either price rise or fall, but supply will not change. If supply remains constant due to change in price level, that is called inelastic supply. In this case, ES will be equals to 0. And in last curve, S5 is showing that here supply curve is horizontal or parallel to the x-axis. This curve is showing that here price is not changing, only quantity supply is changing. Whatever amount of price, quantity supply may be increase or decrease. That is called that supply is perfectly elastic. In this case, ES will be equals to infinity. So these are the five types of elasticity of supply. First case is greater than 1, second is equals to 1, third is less than 1. If supply curve start from the y-axis, ES will be greater than 1. If supply curve start from the origin, ES will be equals to 1. If supply curve start from the x-axis, ES will be less than 1. If supply curve is vertical, or parallel to the y-axis, then supply curve will be inelastic or 0 equals to. And if supply curve is horizontal line or parallel to the x-axis line, ES will be infinity or perfectly elastic supply will exist here. Next is features of elasticity of supply. You know that price elasticity of supply may be greater than 1, maybe less than 1, maybe perfectly elastic, maybe perfectly inelastic or unitary elastic. So price elasticity of supply in case of elastic goods greater than 1, but in case of inelastic goods it will be less than 1. A rise in price means larger the supply, and in case of elastic good, supply can easily change. So if price rises, supply rises. That is in case of elastic goods, and in case of inelastic goods, when price rises, a smaller rise in supply. Slope of supply curve, if it is flat in case of elastic goods, supply curve will be more flatter, and in case of inelastic good, supply curve will be steeper. The good is produced in case of elastic good, rapidly goods can be produced, but in case of inelastic goods, goods can't be easily produced or rapid rate produced. There is a short time period, then supply can't change, supply will be inelastic, and if there is a longer time period, then supply can be easily changed. The firm has elastic goods firm has longer stock, large stock, but in case of inelastic goods, a firm has limited stocks. Next is factors influencing elasticity of supply. What factors affects elasticity of supply? As we have discussed, the factors affecting of supply, same as some factors which influence the elasticity of supply. First of all, nature of the commodity. Nature of the commodity affects the quantity supply. If a commodity is perishable or not storable for longer time period, it's not a durable or not semi-durable, it's a perishable, like fruits, vegetables, milk, bread, etc. Its supply will remain inelastic. It can't increase or decrease according to the change in price. On the other hand, if the supply of a durable commodity is available in the market, durable commodities are those commodities which can be used for a longer time period. That supply will be called elastic because its supply can change with a change in its price. Next is cost of production. If per unit cost of production increases at a faster rate than the rise in price, the supply will be inelastic. On the other hand, if the per unit cost of production of a commodity increases very slowly or very less rate in response to change in price, then supply will be elastic. Next is time factor. Time factor also affects elasticity of supply. If time period is shorter, supply will be inelastic. If time period is longer, supply will be more elastic. If product is perishable, supply will be inelastic. If product is durable, supply will be more elastic. If there is a simple technology, supply will be elastic. If there is a complicated technology, supply will be inelastic. Here, if supply curve, here we are showing that geometric method can also use for the estimation of elasticity of supply. If supply curve start from the y-axis, here supply curve is start from the y-axis. If supply curve start from the y-axis, then elasticity of supply will be greater than 1. And if supply curve start from the x-axis, then supply will be less than 1. And if supply curve start from the origin, then supply will be equals to 1 or unitary elastic supply. So these are the three situations which are showing that supply may be unitary elastic if curve start from the origin. If supply curve start from the y-axis, supply will be highly elastic. And if supply curve start from the x-axis, then supply will be less elastic. Now we can conclude from the today's session that elasticity of supply measures that help producers and policymakers. Price elasticity of demand measures how much change in quantity demanded will occur due to change in price. But elasticity of supply measures how much change in quantity supply will occur due to change in price of the commodity. If it is inelastic, total revenue will rise, and if it is elastic, then total revenue will fall. In most of the markets cases, supply is more elastic in the long run and less elastic in short run. So we have discussed all the topics of block 1 in these sessions. Now we will start in next session block 2. Thank you.